Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alex. So we are thrilled welcoming you to this webinar, the starting point on rethinking event and exhibition logistics. So you are going to experience between today and December a 4-webinar program, as mentioned by Alex, on decarbonization and in-event logistics, a guidance and best practice implementation by scope area. So all outcomes were developed in a collaboration and co-creation process during the work that delivered by the logistic work stream of the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative between 22 and 23. And this was really a co-creation work from all stakeholders, organizers, venue owners, service providers, and particularly IELA members. And the idea was just to evolve our industry strategy. So, because in order just to do so, we need to analyze our current practice in each segment that we do, find a way to measure the output that we create. And but the most important thing is just to generate a change of mindset. We need to make sure that our environment transformation also considers the well-being and health and education of our people, which is the core of what we do, because we all know that in the service industry that we are what our team is. So this is why whatever we are doing now in all these webinars is to nurturing our teams, that they are on the field, because there is no transformation without a new mindset. And this is why this is our core of our work in 2024. So we're very proud just to have you here on this journey together. And I'm very happy just to introduce you to Guido Fornelli. Please, Guido, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Alex. Nice presentation. And okay, the first few slides of my presentation were meant to introduce, let's say, the general frame of the topic of today, that is on-site logistics. So I guess we can skip a little bit what is IELA and the documents that Alexander already presented very well, and the 4 scope areas that were identified in order to reduce the carbonation overall in the logistic of event. So let's go straight to the topic today, that is how to rethink and create new logic for the on-site logistic compared to what we have been doing until now. On-site logistics, we all know that exhibition logistics and the exhibition industry is contributing to a vast amount of emission and waste creation.
Yeah. Sorry, are you sharing your screen?
Yes.
Because
Elizabeth,
can everybody see your screen?
I can see it, yes.
Yes.
I can see it.
Yes, it is visible.
So Elizabeth, I'm sorry, it's guess it's you having a small problem. So as I said, within the path for a more sustainable logistic on site, we identified 12 different items, 12 different topics that should be developed. Today, I don't want to go into detail of all the 12 topics, so don't worry. I want just to recap what are the most important points that need to be developed and really what we feel necessary to achieve for a significant reduction of emission when working at venue. For sure, as Elizabeth said, inspiring all the stakeholders is one, I would say, is the most important topic. Only if we are all clear on the message that we want to implement an ecological transition, we can go for it. The goal is, for sure, cannot be only preparing a strategy for sustainability, but particularly to create an integrate of sustainability procedure, sustainability business models inside our everyday operation. Our story, the path we have followed comes from 2019, when firstly we created very, would say, general and inspirational guidelines to make our business more sustainable. What I'm going to present today is what will be also included in the new guidelines that will be presented at the end of this year by the association. So a few of the concepts that I'm now developing, the next slide will be part of the new version of the sustainability guidelines we are going to publish. All what we are seeing today, I would like to stress once more to recognize the work of my colleagues, is the result of the Sustainability Working Group that has been established 2 years ago. The group is very active in doing a lot of seminar activity, green challenges, and has been also the team, the core team that has developed the measurement tool that I'm going to talk about right now. Reducing on-site emission is possible changing our procedure, but basically, more importantly, changing the equipment we are using. Must be very clear that different fuels, the fossil fuels, down to the hydrogen and the full electric has a different rate of pollution. And the change can come only taking into consideration the shift from diesel to hydrogen or fuel electric. This means that big numbers are required to make a real change in sustainability and in the waste production and the pollution production of our activity. Because having a full electric equipment on site require, first of all, the modernization of the infrastructure of a venue, meaning that we need to have in place enough power station to recharge all the equipment engaged on a daily basis. This including the fact that we need also to invest in new equipment, invest in new type of equipment, means a very overall significant financial investment that cannot take a day, particularly because also the source of electricity itself can be a factor that we need to take into consideration when we want to measure how we pollute the environment with our work. If we produce electricity with a plant that is using, let's say, traditional or based on fossil fuel production material, the level of pollution, even if we use electricity to let our equipment work on site, will not be dramatically reduced. So a lot will depend not only by us, by our supply chain, but about the investment that the different country will put in place in order to let us receive a more sustainable electrical energy, or let's say in general energy to provide our work. We are. I told a few times before in different occasions that to reduce on-site emission is not a short race. Is a long marathon. 2015 can be seen as a year that is very far, very near, depending on how we look at it. But for sure, it means that we have a number of years, and so we can work on a number of different targets beside the general ones that are, as I said, a more clean source of electric energy and a complete change of infrastructure and equipment we use on site in the meantime. How we can do this? Changing also our method of work in terms of engagement of equipment, in terms of how we control our activity, our operation on site. Make improvement need to be proved. If we don't measure, we cannot say we are doing something, we are working better. So the starting point of our work as a team within IELA was to create a tool to calculate the footprint in terms of CO2 of a logistic related to the event. The aim of a tool is to make simple and standard for everybody to collect data in order to increase an aggregate overview of what are the emissions we have along the year. And in this way, measure what the different projects, the different ideas we can put in place can really bring as a result in terms of reduction in pollution. The method to measure the pollution has been then today already engaged by a small group of members within our association, and is going to come to an end. We have started a testing period that will come shortly to an end. Afterwards, the module, the file, the method we have created will become available for all the members of the association. Basically, the method starts with the creation of an Excel file where we take into consideration two factors in order to make our measurement standard internationally. So what we ask our members to, or in general, the company working in logistics on site, is to list their equipment, identifying which is the fuel type these equipment are using. So if it is diesel, is it petrol, gas, and so on, electricity. And then use two internationally identified factors to standardize the level of consumption and the level of pollution this equipment create. Okay, the first factor is let's say a fuel consumption factor, and is taken according to an international standard that is called VDI. What is VDI? VDI is an acronym, German acronyms that stand for Verban Deutscher Ingenieur. and is a factor that has been defined by this, let's say, organization to measure the consumption of all the lifting equipment, so basically the forklift, when they are working under a maximum stress situation. So this means that the manufacturer of forklift equipment do a cycle circuit test and carry out testing in order to measure what is under extreme condition the consumption rate of the various equipment. This factor is, in our opinion, to be taken into consideration because is a factor that is described as it is included in basically all the data information of the equipment that are sold worldwide. So can be really considered something that is accepted internationally. Having, let's say, identified so a factor that can normalize, can standardize the consumption of our equipment, we have also included into our form another factor that need to clarify what is the consumption, the pollution, let's say, rate. So how much CO2 emission are to be considered according to the fuel I'm using. So one thing is the equipment is using diesel, another one if it is using petrol and so on. This rate called, as you can see in one of the center column, CO2 emission factor or unit, will give us in a standard, with a standard number, the rate that can let us obtain the kilograms of CO2 we are creating with our work on site with the equipment, okay? The form is completed by, let's say, reducing, adjusting this factor about 40%, because as we said, the VDI factor is taking into consideration a forklift that is working on extreme stress, so under extreme condition. While in our daily work, let's say we make a use of equipment that is much lower. So also a factor of reduction to adapt the VDI factor to the normal daily life is taken into consideration. The form itself, in this way, can help any company, any IELA or a member or even non-IELA members to measure, to obtain the emission of CO2 of their own equipment by just recording the working hours that each equipment has done during a single day. Okay, so the filling this form or using this method in a different Excel form, if the company wish, give a possibility to have very simply recording only the number of hours we engage the various lifting equipment into CO2 emission. May I ask if I've been clear up to now, or it's confusing? No answer, so must be very confusing. Alex, is clear what I'm saying, or?
Yeah, I think so. We will certainly have all the questions afterwards, so
Okay.
good, I think.
Okay.
If I may, I just want to
Okay.
one clarity. We have mentioned these are only applicable for forklifts or the higher equipment which are usually use cranes and the big cranes. We can factor this one into that also.
I cannot hear you very well, Swapnil. What I understand of your question is that if we have different and bigger equipment, how we can measure their consumption, correct?
Yeah, basically, if you are using the bigger cranes other than the forklift, can we consider those in this form as well,
Yes,
depending on the
exactly.
fuel?
Depending on the fuel and depending on the VDI cycle. Yes. So, as I said, when one last note on the tool, on the form, when we talk about electricity, the rate that we consider will change depending on the country, because as I said, will depends on the way the electricity is produced by the country. There are international reports in terms of sustainability that each country international normally publish, and from there we can get the factor that needs to be taken into consideration in order to evaluate the CO2 emission. So this way, through this tool, we can either see how much our complete fleet is creating in terms of CO2, or how much a single equipment compared to another one we are is also consuming compared to another one. We create in this way a punctual database from where we are able to measure the possible improvement that we can have on site in terms of method we use to work in order to be more efficient and more sustainable. I mean that when we work on site, we can start to think to different way we approach the work, and different way we as a community look at the logistic work. I think first of all that obviously beside changing the equipment, fuel, looking at different structure of a venue, we can also try to reduce pollution with with a better planning. That is the first, let's say, way to make an improvement. Meaning that starting from a change of mind of a clientele that can start to pre-book the service instead of arriving on site with his own truck, the on-site contractor can better size his fleet, the number of lifting equipment, the number of resources that he put in place every day. And this can be, for sure, the first way to reduce emission. To reduce emission with a booking service is a common effort of the whole industry, the whole stakeholder community. Why? Because if we don't have a change in mind of the exhibitors, the stand fitter that are using the service of the on-site contractor, for sure we cannot really progress in terms of planning. The planning is a common effort of the whole industry. What is in the power of the the control of the on-site contractor is to create a proper booking service platform in order to have the data correctly collected and processed in order to optimize the number of equipment. This data process, the optimization and the reduction of emission is for sure going also through a more sustainable and digital process. I mean, to pass from the use of papers not only means directly a more sustainable way of conducting the business, but also give a possibility to share the information in a very quicker way. So from a situation where every forklift is managed on a standalone way, we can easily come to a situation where the control of the entire fleet working daily is splitted inside the venue, reducing the hours and the space that is traveled by the forklift, both for working and for transiting from one service to another. Lastly, last improvement can be obtained linking the operational activity of the fleet working on site through traffic control management activity, a traffic control management system. In this way, what we achieve is a situation where the work on site work more smoothly, and in this way, the pollution both of the truck incoming into the venue and the forklift working around to create to provide the various services is also optimized. So what we have basically done is identifying a tool and then 4 areas that are a booking system, a paperless procedure, a digital fleet management, and a traffic control system that all together can bring to a reduction of the pollution. Reduction of the pollution that this system, for sure, if we look at the future, will increase even more as much as the artificial intelligence application will come into this scenario. And this is something that is becoming more and more important and falling into the plan of our industry. So the possibility to manage and to forecast from our data the activity will bring again another advantage in terms of sustainability. I think I have covered more or less what I had in mind to give as information with regard to the on-site logistics and the way we can try to reduce them, the way we can try to reduce the emission. What I would like to close my speech is with, let's say, a recommendation to the other player of the industry, the other stakeholders, particularly the venue and the organizers, that should look into these parameters. So should, in my opinion, choose from now onward their official on-site contractor when they are, let's say, applying this method, where they are including processes that are efficiently carried on through planification, minimization of the kilometers that are traveled, and obviously through investment in a more sustainable fleet that, as I said, is the starting point and the more important point that in the future will help us to go for a zero event logistic situation. I think it's time now for the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guido. Indeed, it was quite a lot of information, so I'm pretty sure that we will have a couple of questions. And you are very welcome to raise your hand and speak up, or put your question in the chat, and then we can take it from there.
I think Yum has a question, correct? Yes? Yum, can I?
Yeah, I didn't want to sort of jump in with both feet, but I'll do that. No, thank you very much. I think it's from the venue operator and the organizer side, we cover both things very well. It's a very nice photo.
Thank you.
We cover both sides. I've just got a couple of questions on the content. The work hours factor, 60%. Is that where'd you get that from? So I can understand you're saying the VDE is a maximum load forklift thing, but where'd you get the 60% from? Is that where can we find this documentation? Basically, everything we do, we need to say, you know, and the reason behind it, we need to document that. So where'd you get the 60% reduction or the 40% reduction?
Well, it's what is generally we found this information as generally indicated by within all the bibliography you can find on internet regarding VDI, and the difference between the VDI factor test stress and a normal working situation. So VDI give a standard that is the maximum possible for the equipment taken into consideration. What you can read on the internet with regard to, you can find really an enormous amount of article at this regarding the, as you can imagine, regarding the stress test and the consuming rate of the equipments. It is commonly accepted that 40% decrease is what we should look into in order to get a concrete, let's say, a more real rate of consumption that the equipment consume on site daily.
Okay, so well, thank you very much for that. We'll have a look. It's just so if we go into official reporting, then we need to, which we are going to have to do from 2026. 2025 is the first year that we need to have concrete data, and 2026 is the first reporting year. So you know, that's why I just need to get everything sort of really sort of sorted out. Where do we get this sort of information? I've just got a couple of general comments. You were talking about electricity and what if you ask your venue operator or where you're operating, they'll normally tell you what their electricity, how green their electricity is. You know, we swap to 100% renewable. At least that's what we purchase. You know, what the actual, where it comes out the same plug as they all do, but the venue operator probably will be able to tell you what sort of values he has for his electricity. I think that's something. And I think the general approach, you know, you've got it is correct on site, changing the equipment. We just had the Drupa, which was quite a big show. probably well known. We had about 80 electric forklifts up to 18 tons load. And our partners found it not difficult to get these. I think the market for hire equipment is changing. It's changing over, and that's going to help us. What we're going to need is power supply on site. But my personal opinion is power supply is something that the venue does quite well, even outside halls. And we don't have a problem putting in 30, 40 power supply points for the hire equipment. So I think,
I think we should not start from Germany looking into the venue and
no,
the possibility.
No, I was going to say it's probably not.
So that's if you look internationally.
Yeah,
my feeling is that it's still difficult to, and I'm also talking for Italy. It's not common to have enough power supply to let all the equipment be recharged daily, particularly when you are in a situation where you have a large show like Drupa, or you can have, I don't know, Plast in Italy, or Emora, yeah. But we can talk about, I mean, when we start talking about 100, 150 fleets, the number of power recharging station you need to have on site is critical. It's a big investment. That can be a big investment for venues, for smaller, medium-sized venue in different countries and so on. So yes, for sure, looking into Düsseldorf, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's situation is luckily enough different.
Yeah, but I think, at some stage, and whether it's in 2 or 5 or 10 years, I think also the fleets. Everyone has vehicles on site. All partners have vehicles. I mean, you've got a venue fleet basically, and that's going to have to move over at some stage. On the truck side, you don't have any basic vehicles that are in any volume that's suitable for investment. But I think on the hire, I was very surprised that at least in Germany, on the rental side of it, that there's a bigger movement there than I anticipated. That wasn't a problem to get quite a large number of equipment, forklifts at least. I wouldn't say short notice, but I think the market is going to push us over that way, at least in Germany, because the rental people will move over to these to electrical equipment. Yep.
Absolutely. I totally agree. At least in Europe, the situation is that the manufacturers are responding very quickly to an incredible increased demand of electricity. And by the way, in my opinion, we should look also into different options that are also have a very low impact anyway to respond to the need of reduction of CO2. Hydrogen, particularly today, is seen in different countries, like for example Japan, as a possible option, to produce hydrogen on site and then refuel the forklift with the hydrogen. Can be also an equally good option for the CO2 reduction, in my opinion. It's so there are I would not say many, but let's say several different options to come to the result of a CO2 reduction. And for sure, what we are seeing is also big equipment, not only forklifts, so cranes, or even reach stacker for the container, that are now produced totally electric. So the time is where we will have a complete supply chain controlled with electrical equipment or hydrogen equipment. It's not so far away, in my opinion. Sorry, just to clarify, because my colleague wrote to me a short message. Is directly the VDI association that give the 40% reduction rate. So
okay, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your
just to clarify.
There is a question from Helen.
Yes.
To the clarification whether the on-site measurement tool is available to use, or will it be proxy data that organizers can use to estimate on-site logistics?
Well, if I may answer this, I guess will depends on the on-site provider that they will choose on to make their activity on site. Meaning that the tool is available, the standard is now agreed. So the organizer should ask to his own provider if he is using this tool or a similar one to measure his CO2 emission production. I replied correctly.
I think it's clear, Helen. If you have any further follow up, just welcome. Otherwise, we are happy to take other questions if someone has any. There is one question from Igor Lopez from New Expo. Hi everyone. Here at New Expo, we use GHG protocol to measure CO2 emissions, scope 1, 2, and 3, as we're focusing on improving the equipments and also the carbon footprint offset using UN certified programs when providing the reports to our customers. Is there any equivalency between the protocols to be considered, or should we consider changing it to VDI as an industry recommended standard?
This is a difficult one. I guess if you want to go into a unique direction, I mean, as an association, we decided to go for the VDI parameter, the VDI factor. So it would make sense to try to stay with it. Obviously, for sure, we can create, let's say, equivalence between the different protocols that have been developed worldwide. Honestly, I do not recall the GH protocol, but pretty sure that easily we can have an equivalence to make the two factors, the two way of measuring become equivalent. But as I said, VDI is for what we have identified. Also talking between members is a number, is a factor that is clearly stated in all the technical equipment manual, so user manual. So makes sense to use it to simplify the life for everybody. In my opinion, this is personal.
Does it answer your question, Igor?
Yes, for sure. Thanks, Guido. Thanks for that. I'm not an expert on that, but my team actually has told me that the GHG protocol has some regional aspects to be considered. For instance, we're in Brazil. So basically in Brazil, we might have some regional considerations, factors to consider actually. So I'm not quite sure about the VDI, but we'll for sure make sure that we understand how it works. And if it's better, let's consider for sure.
For sure, Brazil. If I recall well, in Brazil, the big difference is that you don't use diesel for the equipment on site. No, you use gas. If I don't know, or what you use is
it's GLP. It's GLP.
GLP. Yes, exactly. So obviously, the factor for GLP is different than for diesel. But we took into consideration also the GLP factor. I mean, VDI is also created considering the fuel for the GPL as a fuel.
Okay, perfect, Guido. Thank you so much for that.
Any further questions? doesn't seem to be the case, but you're of course very welcome to write us an email afterwards in case something comes up, and we will make sure to come back to you timely. So then on behalf of Net Zero Carbon Events and IELA, I would like to thank you for this participation today, and thank you, Guido, for your presentation. We will certainly be in touch with all of you regarding the other webinars IELA is planning within the scope. And the next webinar on the Net Zero Carbon event site will be already next Monday, where the Javits Center in New York is going to present their roadmap towards net zero. So in case you haven't registered and would like to participate, very welcome. You still can have the chance to do so. And from my side, thank you very much. And Elizabeth, maybe you would like to have some words of...
Yes, and don't miss to join the next webinar on traffic management and smart cities that will be taking place on Thursday, October the 24th at 2 o'clock. You cannot miss it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.